Welcome to the PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 Supervisors Training presented by the College Board in partnership with the Michigan Department of Education. This training is designed to help you learn the essential steps to properly plan for and administer the tests as they pertain to the Michigan-provided administrations. However, please refer to your PSAT 10 or PSAT 8-9 Supervisors Manuals for details on the spectrum of responsibility. Please be aware this training covers activities for both the PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9. While these two tests share many policies and procedures, there are areas where the tests differ. In those instances, we have specifically noted the test type and difference. Please take note of these callouts as you participate in this training. Upon completion of the Michigan PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 Supervisors Training, you should be able to identify steps to plan for the administration, identify and plan for a pre-administration session, which is optional but strongly recommended, identify procedures for administering the test, identify steps required after the test, and understand the processes for testing students with accommodations. During the course of this training, you may hear the following terms referenced. SSD, this is the Services for Students with Disabilities staff that oversee the testing of students with accommodations. The NAR, the Non-Standard Administration Report of students who test under the supervision of the SSD coordinator. AI code, the 6-digit attending institution code assigned to your school by the College Board. This code is used on PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 forms, answer sheets, and return materials to identify your school. The SRF, the Supervisor's Report Form, is used to tally used and unused materials for processing. And the SIR, the Supervisor's Irregularity Report Form, which is used to report any incidences or irregularities during an administration. All students testing without accommodations are required to test on either April 11 or April 12, 2017. For test administration, schools can choose the date that works best for them. However, all students in the same grade must be tested on the same day. For example, test 9th graders on one day and 10th graders on the other day, or test students from both grades on the same day. Students testing with accommodations must complete testing between April 11 and April 25, 2017. These accommodations include, but are not limited to, Braille, MP3 audio, assistive technology compatible or ATC formats, reader script, scribe, 100% extended time testing over 2 days, and state allowed accommodations. If a student's accommodation does not require multiple days, student testing must be completed on one of the days during the window. Students who require testing over 2 days must have consecutive days, and their testing must begin by April 24 in order for all testing to be completed by April 25, 2017. If a student is absent on the second day of testing, they must resume testing on the next day they return to school. The College Board recommends that all testing be completed before noon. However, afternoon testing will be supported for the Michigan-provided PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 only. Afternoon testing is not available for the SAT. Afternoon testing allows schools to test on either April 11th or April 12th in either the morning or afternoon. Schools that opt for afternoon testing do not need pre-approval from the College Board. The following policies apply to afternoon testing. Schools must test all students in the same grade on the same day at the same time. Tests must be administered in one sitting and be completed before the end of the school day. Throughout this training, you will see references to staff members who are important to the administration of the PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 assessments. These roles include the principal, test center supervisor, SSD coordinator, associate supervisors, and hall and room proctors. Now let's review the responsibilities for each of these roles. The principal's responsibilities include serving as the main instructional contact for the College Board and enlisting the aid of the other staff. As the test supervisor of record, you manage the test center and staff, and you ensure the secure handling of testing materials. You are expected to be at the school to supervise all activities related to testing. The preparation of your school as a test center requires your commitment to meeting the following responsibilities: reading the supervisor's manual to understand policies and procedures, ensuring the security of testing materials at all times, scheduling the test administration, identifying and training staff, selecting testing rooms, communicating with students and parents, printing copies of translated test directions from www.collegeboard.org/Michigan, coordinating with school administration to ensure that there will not be disruptions on test day, working with the SSD coordinator regarding students testing with accommodations, handling test day irregularities, completing the supervisor's report form, packaging and returning test materials no later than the next school day, and collaborating with the other assessment test center supervisors at your school when identifying staff, selecting test rooms, and identifying secure storage of test materials. As the Services for Students with Disabilities coordinator, you play a significant role in the test administration. Your responsibilities include coordinating with students with disabilities and/or state-allowed accommodations, or SAAs, and their parents to ensure that students who require accommodations meet eligibility requirements, reviewing the Non-Standard Administration Report, or NAR, that indicates the names of students approved for accommodations, reviewing the eligibility roster and the State Allowed Accommodations dashboard to review all accommodated test takers, working with the test center supervisor to support the needs of students who require accommodations, and planning with the test center supervisor to ensure that students are assigned to the appropriate testing room. Associate supervisors are responsible for conducting a secure, valid administration. They are accountable for everyone in the testing room and everything that takes place in that room. Responsibilities include reading the supervisor's manual ahead of test day to be thoroughly familiar with testing procedures, assuming responsibility for test materials in the assigned room, administering the test according to the manual's instructions, completing the seating chart, properly timing each section, actively monitoring the testing room, handling and reporting irregularities or disruptions and completing the SIR, and returning test materials to the test center supervisor after students are dismissed. Hall and room proctors assist you and your associate supervisors with test administration duties. Proctors do not administer the test, but they do help set up the testing area, monitor testing, and patrol the hallway during testing. The PSAT 10 consists of 4 sections, with each section timed separately. The sections include reading, writing and language, math without calculator, and math with calculator. The PSAT 8-9 consists of the same 4 sections as the PSAT 10, but also includes a 5th variable section. The content of the variable section will be different for each school. Test books will include an additional section of reading, writing and language, math with calculator, or math without calculator. The variable section is a required section of testing. The total testing time for the PSAT 10 and the PSAT 8-9 is estimated around 3 hours. Please note that this time estimation does not include pre-administration time. Please take note that the math portion of the test is broken into 2 sections, the math test without calculator and the math test with calculator. To assist students and proctors monitoring the test, students will see a calculator allowed or a no calculator allowed indicator on the answer sheet and in the test booklet. For more information on calculator use and policies, please refer to the supervisor's manual. There are a few key identifiers that you will need for your administration. A 6-digit College Board Attending Institution or AI code. You should have received an email in early January from the College Board that provided your school's AI code. All schools must have an active AI code to order and administer College Board tests, apply for student accommodations, and receive materials and student test scores. And the Michigan Student Unique Identifier Code, or the UIC for students, which students will use whenever their student ID number is requested. This includes the PSAT 8-9 and PSAT 10 answer sheets. Students' UIC is the 10-digit number found in the upper left-hand corner of the pre-ID label affixed to the answer sheet. Upon completion of this module, you should be able to know the steps to properly and securely prepare for the test, understand requirements for testing room setup and know how to apply them, identify the process for ensuring the security of your test materials, identify the number of staff you require for testing, identify how to train staff, and ensure that your test administration is free from disruptions. Your test materials will arrive at your school 3 weeks prior to test day. This shipment will include student test materials and supervisor's manuals. The manual provides the detail for how to complete all administration activities. In addition to test materials, you will also receive a package of pre-ID labels and answer sheets for each student registered to test at your school. You can carry out pre-administration activities as soon as you receive your materials up to the day before the test. It is recommended that you complete all preparation activities prior to test day to allow for a shorter, more efficient test day. The College Board will determine your school's material order based on the following. 1. The students pre-identified in the secure site at the close of the pre-ID window on February 14, 2017. The students approved for accommodations through the College Board's SSD online system, and the additional materials order placed in the secure site between March 23rd and March 31st, 2017, including test books, answer sheets, and manuals. No additional pre-ID labels for late identified students will arrive as part of this shipment. For any students who do not have labels, pre-ID the student in the BAA secure site and locally print a label before testing. To ensure the security and proper handling of materials, it is critical that you create a plan for the receipt and storage of your test materials from the time you receive them until after the test. Early in the planning process, select a secure, locked location to store your test materials. Ensure this location is large enough to accommodate all testing materials. Ensure students do not have access to the storage location, and confirm that only you and your designated staff have access to the locked storage area. Within 24 hours of your shipment arrival, confirm that you have received all boxes. Boxes will be marked by assessment type and by the number of boxes received for each program. For example, the box will read PSAT 8-9, 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, depending on the program and quantity. Please contact customer service immediately if there's a problem with your shipment. Your supervisor's manual will have more detailed instructions to handle any issues. With your test materials shipment, you will receive the Michigan Assessment Materials Matrix. This is a key document for material inventory and handling. We recommend that you refer to this document often to ensure that all materials are distributed and organized correctly per assessment. Each carton will contain a shipping notice that details the contents of the box. Upon receipt of your materials, please remove the shipping notice and use it to inventory the test materials. Confirm that you received the correct number of answer sheets, test books, and pre-ID labels. Please take a detailed inventory of your test materials to make sure each program shipment includes all of the following. The pre-ID label shipment. This includes pre-ID labels, including a set of blank labels, and packs of answer sheets, including flyers listing religion and college major codes for PSAT 10. The test materials shipment will contain packs of 5 or 25 shrink-wrapped test books, PSAT 10 supervisor's manuals, at least one for every 25 test books, PSAT 8-9 supervisor's manuals, at least one for every 25 test books, and the supervisor's kit, which contains the supervisor's report form, or the SRF, for standard and non-standard, the supervisor's irregularity report, or the SIR, answer sheet return boxes and related materials, and non-administration envelope for return of answer sheets for students testing with accommodations. You will also receive a pack of PSAT 10 student guides early in March for distribution to 10th graders at your school. The College Board will ship a small overage of test materials for students who transferred to your school after the pre-ID window was closed. Any late transfers into the school must be pre-identified in the secure site prior to testing. It is the school's responsibility to locally print a pre-ID label for all students not identified during the pre-ID window. These labels will also need to be affixed to the appropriate answer sheet prior to testing. The overage materials included in your test material shipment will include a set of blank labels. After you have taken inventory and confirmed the receipt of all test materials, reseal all boxes and sign your name across the tape included in the supervisor's kit. Place all materials in the locked storage area at your school where only you and your designated staff have access. Ensure the security of test books. No one is to open the bags of test books until their distribution to associate supervisors on test day. When storing materials, make sure you keep the boxes for materials return. PSAT 8-9 has 2 return boxes for answer sheets, one for the primary administration and one for the makeup, and 2 sets of return labels for the test books. PSAT 10 has 2 return boxes for answer sheets only, one for the primary administration and one for the makeup. PSAT 10 test books will be stored at the school and distributed to students upon receipt of student score reports. The pre-ID labels list important information about each test taker, including the student's UIC. All schools must affix the pre-ID labels to the designated area on the front of the answer sheets. For large block answer sheets, the label appears on the back page. Please make sure you apply labels to the appropriate program's answer sheets. Prior to test day, schools must have all students, including students testing with accommodations, fill in the identification portion of their answer sheets. Students must fill out answer sheets under the supervision in school. The pre-administration session will take about 30 minutes for PSAT 8-9 and about 45 minutes for PSAT 10. If these activities are not completed in advance, please plan accordingly to allow time for all pre-administration activities on test day. Please refer to the pre-administration instructions section in your supervisor's manual for more details on the procedures for the pre-administration session. To complete the identification information during the pre-administration session, students will be asked to provide a student ID number. Students must provide their Michigan UIC in this box. The student's UIC can be found in the upper left-hand corner of the pre-ID label affixed to the answer sheet. To promote an effective and secure administration, testing rooms must fulfill the following requirements. Rooms should be free of any materials that can aid students on test day. These materials can be removed or covered up during testing. Rooms are located away from noisy areas and distracting activities, and rooms are located near restrooms for use during breaks. Plan to administer the tests in rooms that have a visible working clock, proper lighting, proper ventilation, and an area where a proctor can write and display start and stop times and other pertinent test day information. One of the most critical planning activities is the selection of rooms that meet seating requirements. Be sure to select rooms that can meet the following seating requirements. Students seated 4 feet apart, measured from the center of one desk to the center of the next desk. All students must face the same direction. If using tablet armchairs, the desk must have a minimum writing surface of 12 by 15 inches. If using regular tables, ensure students are seated 4 feet apart. All desks or tables must have a writing surface with room for a test book, answer sheet, and calculator side by side. And round tables, study carrels, and partitions are not permitted. The following images depict prohibited seating arrangements. There are 2 errors in the seating arrangements in the first image. First, the students at the back table are facing each other. All students must face the same direction. Second, the third table back shows students sitting too closely side by side. Students must be seated at least 4 feet apart. In the second image, the students sitting at desks all face the same direction and sit 4 feet apart. However, in the back of the room, there are 3 students sitting at study carrels facing the wall. The first error, all students must face the same direction for testing. The second error, study carrels and partitions are not permitted for testing. Now let's look at an example of an approved seating arrangement. The image below displays one example of a correct room and seating setup. All students sit facing the same direction. Their desks are placed 4 feet apart as measured from the center of desk to center of desk, and the desks provide an adequate writing surface. This is a secure testing environment. Now that you know the room and seating requirements, you will need to generate a list of pre-identified students to begin planning your room count for test day. This list will provide you with the number of students you have testing. Identify the different populations who will be testing at your school based first on test type, then the type of room that they may require for testing. Confirm if you will need rooms for standard, non-standard, or state-approved accommodations for each test, PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9. Determining the number of rooms you will need depends on how many students can be fit into a room, which varies depending on the room's ability to meet the specified room and seating requirements. Work closely with your SSD coordinator prior to test day to review the NAR and SAA dashboard. The rosters will outline the specific accommodations with which students will be testing. Use the report total and accommodation information provided by the SSD coordinator to help you organize and distribute materials accurately and plan for additional staff for accommodated rooms. When planning for staff and rooms, factor in students approved for an accommodation that can be administered in a standard room and those that require a separate testing room. Always keep in mind that students testing with SAAs must test in a separate testing room from other students, including SSD test takers. Work with your SSD coordinator to plan room assignment and preparation for students testing with College Board approved accommodations and SAAs. To plan your rooms, first pull the total number of students testing for your school. This number will include standard and non-standard test takers. Next, partner with your SSD coordinator to identify students testing with College Board approved accommodations and SAAs. Finally, use the non-standard administration report, or the NAR, from the SSD online system to confirm the number of students testing with accommodations and their accommodation types. These numbers and the accommodation information will help you plan for accommodated students who can test in standard rooms and how many non-standard rooms are required to meet the needs of all of your test takers. To determine your staffing needs for each room, follow the ratio of 1 associate supervisor to every 34 test takers, taking into account students with College Board approved accommodations. When planning, also note which students test in a standard room and which may require a separate SSD or SAA testing room. It is important to remember that students testing with SAAs must test in a separate room from the standard and SSD rooms. Use hall and room proctors to assist associate supervisors with seating students, monitoring hallways, and bathrooms during breaks, and any other support activities. Please meet with all staff members prior to test day to conduct a training of policies and procedures. Your supervisor's manual will provide detailed information about how to determine your staffing needs. Once you have planned your rooms and confirmed student counts, you need to recruit staff for test day. Qualifications for staff include: staff may not be involved in any tutoring or test preparation activities that are conducted outside the auspices of their school or district. The teaching and normal review of course content and viewing tests, including test familiarization, that is part of regularly scheduled coursework, is acceptable. Neither you nor any associate supervisor or proctor may be a member of the household of a student taking the same test they will be administering, even if the student is testing at a different school. For example, if a staff member's child will be taking the PSAT 10, he or she cannot serve as testing staff for the PSAT 10. However, he or she may serve as testing staff for the SAT or PSAT 8-9. In addition to the previous qualifications, select staff who are 18 years or older and have a minimum of a high school diploma, Our current or retired teachers, counselors, administrators, or other educators who are familiar with the test administration, are fluent in English, possess high integrity and maturity, have the ability to handle groups of students in an effective and friendly manner, and also refer to the State of Michigan Assessment Integrity Guide for guidance on selecting external testing staff. In addition to the College Board staff requirements, the Michigan Department of Education provides following guidance related to selecting staff. Number 1, licensed teachers or licensed educational administrators employed by the school district. Number 2, paraprofessionals or non-licensed administrative personnel employed by the school district. And number 3, licensed substitute teachers who are employed by the district for the purpose of administering the test. We recommend that as a supervisor, you conduct a training session with your staff to discuss the policies and procedures of test day. Please review the supervisor's manual, how to access the test supervisor's training, active proctoring, the calculator policy, allowable and prohibited student materials for test day, and how to handle any irregularities or issues that may arise on test day. The security of test materials is integral before, during, and after testing. Be sure to safeguard test books at all times, including on breaks. No one is to unseal the test books until distribution to associate supervisors on test day. Before testing, take inventory of materials to ensure that you have all materials and that they match for the program type. For example, ensure that all PSAT 8-9 materials are kept together and separate from the PSAT 10 and SAT materials. During testing, associate supervisors should distribute test materials in such a way that students cannot access test books except while taking the test. Prior to dismissing students, associate supervisors will collect a test book and answer sheet directly from each student and account for all test materials in their testing room. After testing, take inventory of materials with each associate supervisor as they return their room's materials. This module is designed to help you successfully administer the test and avoid test day irregularities. Upon completion of this module, you should be able to identify how to properly distribute test materials on test day, properly admit and seat students, maintain security on test day, follow the instructions for administering the test, understand how to support students testing with accommodations, know how to properly dismiss students, avoid and handle test day disruptions and irregularities. You are responsible for accounting for all materials on test day and ensuring that the correct materials are provided in each testing room. As part of the distribution process, first count and confirm material counts. If you are testing students with accommodations, double check that you provide the correct materials and instructions to the supervisors in the non-standard rooms. On test day, each associate supervisor should receive the following: test books, pre-labeled answer sheets for the students testing in their room, an SIR, college major and religion code lists. This list is bundled with test books and answer sheets in the material shipment, copies of translated test directions and/or word-for-word bilingual glossaries if applicable. If testing students with MP3 audio or assistive technology compatible accommodations, a flash drive test format will be provided. When organizing and distributing materials, ensure that all test materials match the test assigned to the room and associate supervisor, and that pre-labeled answer sheets match the students for the room. Ensure all associate supervisors bring his or her supervisor's manual on test day. On test day, associate supervisors are responsible for all test materials while in their possession and will count materials when receiving the materials from the test center supervisor, after collecting the materials from each student post-test, and when reconciling materials upon return to the test center supervisor. Admitting students to your school should be done in a way that maintains a secure testing facility. To prepare for admission, please ensure the following. Number 1, a plan is in place for how to check in test takers. For schools testing a large number of students, this may require a separate area for check-in. For schools testing fewer students, check-in may occur in the testing room. You may elect to collect and store phones and other prohibited electronic devices from test takers during administration, including during break periods. Students should not select their own seats. Assign seats randomly so that friends and relatives are not seated next to each other. If you are testing students from other schools and/or homeschooled students, these test takers can be assigned to any testing room. Please note, if you have any late arrivals, those students can only join a room if the time portion of the testing has not begun. During the test, which includes breaks, each student should only have the following items on his or her desk: a test book, a pre-labeled answer sheet. Please ensure that the answer sheets are distributed to the correct test taker as identified on the pre-ID label, a number 2 pencil with eraser, and a calculator. Please note that the calculator should only be on the student's desks for the Math with Calculator section. Finally, copies of translated test directions and/or word-for-word bilingual glossaries, if applicable. The following items are prohibited during testing: cell phones or smartphones, smartwatches, watches that can send, receive, or record information, audio players, recorders, tablets, laptops, notebooks, or any other personal computing devices, any devices that can be used to record, transmit, receive, or playback audio, photographic images, text, or video content, cameras or any other photographic equipment, separate timers of any type, pens, highlighters, and mechanical or colored pencils, compasses, rulers, protractors, or cutting devices, books, dictionaries, or references of any kind, notes, pamphlets, or papers of any kind, including scratch paper, earplugs, and finally, drinks and snacks. Drinks and snacks are allowed in the testing room, but not on the desk or near testing materials. For test tracking purposes, you will need to provide some information to your staff to be posted in the testing room. Students will copy this information onto their answer sheets. Please ensure each room posts the 6-digit AI code assigned to your school by the College Board. Also post your school's address and the test date. To assist student progress during testing, the associate supervisor should post each section's start and stop time and each break time. Now that you have prepared your school and staff, you are ready to begin testing. Once all students are checked in and seated, the associate supervisor should ensure all desks are clear, everything should be put away, and all electronic devices should be turned off or removed from the room. Distribute test books, pre-labeled answer sheets, and college major and religion code lists. Instruct students not to open test books until directed to do so. Distribute copies of translated test directions and/or word-for-word bilingual glossaries as applicable. The supervisor's manual will provide detailed instructions for procedures in the testing room, including the scripts to be read aloud word for word on test day. Your staff needs to maintain security by monitoring for any type of activity that could provide a student with an unfair advantage. Associate supervisors should observe to ensure that there is no copying of answers and no communication among students. They should also walk around the room and ensure students are working in the correct section of the test book and answer sheet. Ensure no prohibited items and devices are present. Never leave students unattended at any time. And associate supervisors should also stay focused and alert throughout the test administration by not reading books, grading papers, or working on a computer. Associate supervisors are expected to be active proctors. Beyond the responsibilities previously discussed, associate supervisors must walk around the room to monitor students' progress, ensure test materials remain secure at all times, monitor for any disruptions or irregularities during testing, use the irregularity chart in the supervisor's manual to determine appropriate actions and required documentation, and time each section and break accurately. Irregularities could occur before, during, or after the test. The irregularity chart found in the supervisor's manual provides detailed instructions about what actions to take if an irregularity occurs and when the supervisor's irregularity report, or SIR, is required by you or your staff. If an irregularity occurs under the watch of an associate supervisor, the associate supervisor should document the irregularity in a way that does not take him or her away from actively monitoring his or her testing room. The Michigan PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 supervisor manuals include scripts and instructions for administering the PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 in both standard and non-standard testing rooms, including SAAs. There is no longer a separate SSD or SAA supervisor's manual. Non-standard scripts included in the supervisor's manual will be used for both College Board and state-allowed accommodations. Encourage staff to read and understand the test instructions and scripts in the supervisor's manual prior to test day. Ensure staff read test scripts word for word on test day. Explain the section timing and breaks to your staff, including the timing for students testing with extended time. The MP3 audio and ATC formats will be provided on a flash drive. Please be sure to have a computer available that can accept a flash drive for each student approved to test with these accommodations. Special instructions will be provided to you with the material shipment. The MP3 audio file comes with all instructions for test day. The ATC format is intended for students who use assistive technology software such as Zoom Text or JAWS. Students must be approved both for the ATC format and the technology being used. Refer to the supervisor's manual for non-standard testing for additional information about procedures for test day. Students approved for extended time are provided a specific amount of time for each section of the test. Extended time accommodations could include: if the student has extended time in reading, he or she will receive extended time for the entire test. If extended time is approved for math, the student will receive extended time for the math sections only. If a student has approval for extended time in writing, he or she does not receive any extended time because there is not an essay component for the PSAT 10 or PSAT 8-9. For students testing with extended time, please use the appropriate supervisor's manual instructions and scripts and distribute the standard test book to students. When preparing your testing rooms, group students who are approved for extended time for a given section of the test together in order to time the test correctly. For example, group students approved for 50% extended time for the math sections only together, and group students approved for 50% extended time in reading together, etc. Once testing has concluded, the associate supervisor must perform the following tasks before dismissing students from the testing room. Collect all test books individually from each student. Make sure no answer sheets are inserted in or between the test books. Collect all answer sheets from each student. Check to see that all identifying information on the answer sheet has been filled out. If any areas are missing, ask the student to make the correction prior to leaving the testing room. Verify, by count, that you have the correct number of test books and answer sheets for the number of students who tested in the room. Collect copies of translated test directions and/or word-for-word bilingual glossaries if applicable. Once all materials are accounted for, follow the script and the supervisor's manual for dismissing students. After testing has been completed and students have been dismissed from the testing rooms, collect the NAR from the associate supervisors as necessary. Only non-standard rooms will return a NAR. Work with the staff to document any testing irregularities on an SIR and perform a count with each associate supervisor to confirm that the quantity of materials received matches the quantity of materials issued. Upon completion of this module, you should be able to identify the required forms and how to complete them, illustrate steps for packaging and returning materials, and for PSAT 10 only, how to securely store test materials. The test center supervisors are required to complete the following forms: the supervisor's report form, the NAR, and if applicable, an SIR. Supervisors are required to complete the essential forms and return them using the instructions in the test shipment memo. These instructions are provided with your test material shipment. You receive the supervisor's report form with your supervisor's kit. Please complete this form using a number 2 pencil. Do not use ink. Once completed, please sign. Your signature certifies that you and your staff administered the test according to the procedures and instructions as outlined in the supervisor's manual. Please be sure to fill out and use the correct forms, as mistakes may lead to delays in reporting your scores. A form must be completed for both PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9. Please note there is no longer a separate non-standard SRF for PSAT. The non-standard administration report can be accessed and printed from the SSD online system. Work with your SSD coordinator to gain access to this form. All portions of the NAR must be completed and set aside with the answer sheets of the students listed on the report, including homeschool students. If students tested using accommodations, their answer sheets must be returned in the non-standard administration envelope. Be sure to follow closely the instructions provided in the supervisor's manual to ensure that materials are received correctly, as mistakes may lead to delays in reporting your scores. The Supervisor's Irregularity Report, or SIR, arrived with your supervisor's kit. Please consult the irregularities chart in the supervisor's manual to determine if the submission of an SIR is required for the irregularity. Set aside the answer sheets of all students listed on your SIRs and return these answer sheets along with the accompanying SIR if applicable to your administration. The appropriate materials should be returned following the test or no later than the next school day after the test. Failure to return answer sheets within this timeline may delay score reports. Schools that are administering multiple tests should take precautions when returning their test materials to ensure that each test type is returned separately. Materials for the PSAT 10 should be returned according to the instructions provided in the PSAT 10 and should not be included with the materials for the PSAT 8-9 or the SAT. Please return materials for each assessment in the corresponding return boxes and envelopes. The return instructions for each test differs. Please refer to the supervisor's manual for details to accurately return all test materials. Return all answer sheets that contain at least one gridded item level response. All answer sheets must have a pre-ID label applied in addition to the student gridded information. Materials for students testing with accommodations are returned in the package with standard materials. You can return materials for these students after the April 11 or April 12th administration or at the end of the SSD testing window, packaged with the standard April 25th or April 26th makeup materials. Keep and securely store all unused test books and answer sheets for both the PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9. These materials will be used for any makeup testing. Follow the instructions as detailed in each test supervisor's manual. Please note, return only one answer sheet for each student, unless you have an irregularity that requires multiple answer sheets. Students with an accommodation that allows them to write in their test books must have their answer sheets transcribed by a staff member to an answer sheet. Please clip the answer sheet to the test book and return those materials in the non-standard administration envelope. Any student whose answer sheet is returned in the non-standard administration envelope will be considered to have tested with an accommodation. Use the pre-labeled courier return envelopes or white boxes that came with your test materials to return answer sheets. There will be two labels on the box, a UPS shipping label and a colored Pearson return label. You will receive two boxes, set one aside for use after the makeup administration. To return your PSAT 8-9 test books, use an empty box and the loose UPS return labels included in your test material shipment. set aside a test book return label in an empty box for use after the makeup administration. To return your test materials, use the pre-labeled boxes provided in your test materials shipment. Follow the instructions in the test shipment memo and your supervisor's manual to package your materials for return. Do not include filler or other packing materials when preparing materials for return. Please make and keep a copy of the key forms for your school's records, which include any SIRs, the SRF, and the seating charts completed by your associate supervisors. Seating charts do not need to be returned, but may be requested by the Office of Testing Integrity at ETS as part of an investigation into an irregularity or test security incident. The College Board will schedule and prearrange courier pickup on behalf of each testing site. Test center supervisors at each site will receive a message prior to the test with the date and time of the site's prearranged pickup. Please note that each testing location will return materials via the prearranged pickup. The courier pickup will be scheduled for the day after testing. For both PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9, keep all unused materials, both answer sheets and test books, for use in your makeup test administration. After makeups are completed, for the PSAT 10, return the used answer sheets per instructions. Dispose of any unused answer sheets and store test books for return to students with their score reports. Under no circumstances should test books, used or unused, be returned to anyone until after score reports are received by the principal. For PSAT 8-9, return all used answer sheets and test books. Once the makeup period has concluded, all PSAT 8-9 test books must be returned. Please note the differences in policies and procedures between the PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 and refer to the corresponding supervisor's manual for more details. Students who miss the initial test administration are eligible to participate in the makeup administration. For students testing with standard materials who miss the test date, the makeup test date is either April 25th or April 26th, 2017. Students testing with accommodations who miss the test date can test any day during the testing window, April 11th to the 25th. There is no specific makeup date for these students. All makeup testing must be completed by April 26th, 2017. Schools should keep all unused materials from the initial administration for use in the makeup administration. You should have received a second makeup materials kit with your primary test materials shipment. This makeup kit includes the necessary forms and return materials needed to administer the makeup test. The test center supervisor will receive an email for each assessment, one for PSAT 8-9 and one for PSAT 10. In each email, they will receive the makeup test date and instructions for how to report the number of absentees and students who experienced an irregularity that may result in a makeup. This information will be used by the College Board to determine the volume of makeup materials required for the school. PSAT 10 and PSAT 8-9 supervisors should only respond to the survey if they require additional test materials. If you have sufficient materials on site to support the makeup administration at your school, you do not need to request additional materials or reply to the survey. Only those schools that reply to the survey will receive materials. After test day, save any pre-labeled answer sheets or pre-ID labels that you did not use. These may be used for the makeup administration. The school must generate a pre-identification label on site for any student without a label available. Most schools participating in the April 2017 Michigan-provided test administrations will use their schools as their testing location. However, for schools that submitted a request and received approval for an off-site testing location, you may be planning for administrations at more than one location. For more detailed instructions on how to administer off-site testing, please refer to your supervisor's manual. Thank you for participating in this training. If you have any questions about your administration, please contact the College Board on the Michigan Educator Hotline or via email.